Hi, it's Dominic from the msguide.com. Today I talked to Rebecca Scott. She's in Washington, D.C. in the good old US of A. She's also had MS a long time like me, and we're going to be a couple of old veterans, hopefully, reflecting on how we deal with it, what it's like, how upsetting it can be to get an MS diagnosis. And frankly, we're both of the view that unless you've actually got MS and you've been dealing with some of it, it's very, very hard to see or understand what other people are feeling. So we try to reflect that and talk about how we've come to terms with it and how we fit MS into our lives. Before we start though, just one quick thing. If you like these videos, please subscribe to the channel. It's how I know that you like what's being done and that it's helpful. Let's start the interview now. Hi, everyone. It's Dominic from the MS Guide. Today, we've got our special guest from Washington, D.C. It's the morning for her and the afternoon for me. So I'm just going to turn it over. It's Rebecca Scott. And Rebecca, can you tell us a bit about yourself, how long you've had MS? And I know you have a blog, so please remember to mention it. I always forget.
Yes. Happy to. So yes, as you said, I am a longtime resident of Washington, D.C. It's been my home for nearly 2 decades. I was an English major, so I'm an avid reader. And I write about my experiences with MS at stumbler.blog. I was diagnosed with multiple sclerosis when I was 27 years old, which is a pretty typical time for a woman to be diagnosed. As much as anything with this damn disease is typical, it varies so much. But at the time, it was pretty typical. And I was told, I love this phrase, this is a great time to be diagnosed. Which, like, fuck
Really?
off. I mean, it's never, no, it's not a great time. But
one of these things, I doubt there's ever a good time.
Right.
And that could only be said. See, this to me is very typical of some of the healthcare professionals who may not really be thinking through what they're saying. My money is they don't have MS.
Yeah.
It might be semi-legitimate for me, i.e., I didn't have any drug options when I was diagnosed.
Mhm.
So I think I would phrase it though, saying, well, were you to be diagnosed now, at least you have more options. It doesn't
Right.
make it
Yes.
less of a
That would
disease.
be much better phrasing. And that was what they were saying to me is, look, you have these three options. You can put needles in yourself every week in three different patterns. Isn't that exciting? uh, so I immediately got on a DMT, which is of course a disease modifying therapy. I had urinary issues, which initially never even occurred to me that would be related to MS. And thank goodness I eventually had the wherewithal to say to a doctor, hey, I pee a lot. Like, could that be a thing? And it was, of course. And so I tried drugs for that. Fast forward 12-ish years, I ended up self-catheterizing and have been doing that for a very long time now. Big game changer. Scary as hell when it started. How on earth am I going to do this every day, forever? And now it's just part of my life. Leave the house, check the purse for catheters. Let's go.
Happy days.
Yeah, well, yeah.
Ish.
I mean, certainly happier than they were when I was peeing 20 times a day. So
yeah.
I'll take it.
I was speaking to another chap, and he said he was, that was one of his first clues, was he just wet himself in front of everybody when he was doing something. I can't remember what it was, but it was very public. So we're conditioned that socially that's just beyond the pale.
Well, and I think every time I have faced a new thing related to MS, even starting with self-injection. I was like, I'm never going to be able to do this. This is the worst thing. And then it becomes normal. Self-catheterization. This is so hard and it's weird. And I don't, again, touching yourself in a way that you don't really want to be touching yourself. How on earth? And then, oh God, that's not the worst thing. Similarly, with accidents, I also have some bowel issues. The first time I shit myself, I was like, okay, life is over. I'm never going outside again. Everything has changed. I can't, don't look at me. And then it happens again. And you're like, oof, I hate this. And I can live through it, which is like so much, I think, of the MS experience is you're just faced with things where you're like, oh, come on, this? And then you realize, oh, okay, there are ways to cope. So you cope.
Yeah. Only once I was coming back, I'd been working in the Far East, and I may have eaten a couple of portions of prawn curry on the plane, and I think maybe it hadn't been so well refrigerated as one would expect with a seafood dish. So I landed Heathrow and I go straight to the clients to go working. And as I walk in, everything lets go. And it's nothing to do with MS, but it's running down your legs and you go, oh, bother, as you start walking like John Wayne, as you're thinking. And then I drove home, sitting on a plastic bag with my suit trousers thrown in the back of the car. And I had nothing on my bottom half. And I thought, if the police stop me, this is going to be a tough one to explain. But it's really, but you just get through. You think, well, I'm here now. I can't uncrap myself. So therefore.
Oh, if only somebody find that technology.
Yeah, my time machine, please. So it's But what I really wanted to talk to you about, Rebecca, today was we've both had MS a while and can tell, I imagine, like back and forth war stories about everything for ages. But if I'm looking at this through a newly diagnosed person's sort of point of view, I know we were talking the other day. I think your world is rocked and you ought to get a pass for a year to just be as loopy about this as you want, because but really it's about how do you cope going forward. I mean, there's all these things. It's just being able to step back from it or put it to another side in your, I don't know, how would you characterize the mechanisms that you've developed to have a happy, productive life, even though there's these occasional, I would call them embuggerances?
The first thing I've done is I've put in some basic self-care things I do. I get a massage every week. It helps with muscle spasticity and it also just chills me out a little bit. So it is a wonderful thing to do for myself. I embrace almost everything that can make my life a little bit easier. That started with a cane. It has moved on to a rolling walker or a rollator. Bars on the walls of the shower. A stool in the kitchen so that when I have the energy to cook, I can still do it. So just putting little things in place that give me more of a semblance of my before life. So that is like the base level of these are things I do to help myself cope. The other thing I do is that I surround myself with people who love me and who appreciate my sense of humor, which is not everybody. I'm sure you've encountered this as well.
With you?
No, with you, I mean maybe with me. I don't know.
I'm teasing you. We get on particularly well.
Having people around me who know that I could shit myself, that I might need to be walked to the bathroom suddenly, who will get me things from across the room, who will not laugh as I shake, as I bring my water glass to my mouth and then proceed to douse myself with it. Yeah, just human connection makes a huge difference. And even the MS Twitter community, just having that as well is a wonderful outlet for when you do have something going on that you have to talk about and you want to talk to people who get it. Is
you don't have to explain
such a beautiful
it, do
thing.
you?
Right.
You know, it's kind of like this. I mean, if I was going to paraphrase what you said, it's not viewing all the things like stools or handles or canes or rollators as failures. They're merely something that you're employing to make it so that your life's easier. And frankly, MS can, for want of a better word, bugger off. You know, because you have things to do, and these merely make it possible for you to do these things. Is that fair?
And I think that is totally fair and significantly more succinct than I was. And it's a really tough mindset to get oneself into. And because I have the years of experience, I'm better with it. But there are moments where I'm like, I'm useless. Like, obviously, I'm not actually useless, but sometimes that's how I feel. I think there are a few things that help there. One is giving myself permission to feel whatever I feel. And although there is that other part of me that's yelling, you're useless, you're a burden to everybody around you, you know, that asshole who lives in my brain. Because we have all these voices in our heads. And I mean, whether you have a chronic illness or not, those voices are there. So I usually let them say their piece and then be like, shh, I'm talking now. And if I need to feel shitty for a while, I'll feel shitty. And if I need to feel just sad, because sometimes it's really sad. There's a lot of grief involved in this. And I think especially for the newly diagnosed, it's important to acknowledge that. Like, your life has changed in serious ways.
Well, there's the 5 stages of grief, the sort of commonly accepted psychological model, you know, which I can't see why it would not apply in its entirety, you know, to get to the acceptance. What pains me is when I see people who have their get up and go has got up and gone. And that's, I find that hard, and that frightens me because everything with me is mediated by this. I must never let my get up and go somewhere else. I know we were having a discussion the other day, and it's a fairly contentious topic, but it was to me, it's an unwinnable fight. So if warrior is about strength and just, you know, having the get up and go to face the day, that's one thing. The idea to me that I'm going to fight MS is, well, I'm quite a lazy person, so I don't have the energy to invest in a fight every day. That's kind of boring to me. But I want to think that I'm actually trying to outfox it as opposed to fight it. I want to poison it with drugs. I mean, we're both on ocrelizumab now. You know, I want to bring it in close, and then, like you say, go, shh, I'm talking, I'm doing it now. You know, go away, and putting it into another part of my head. I mean,
so I just have an allergic reaction to anyone who declares themselves an MS warrior. And that doesn't mean that I don't interact with them on Twitter or in person. You know, we all cope in our own ways, of course. But yes, I don't know who I'm fighting in this battle with the warriorhood. And I feel like that mentality often comes with a relentless positivity that I find doesn't make room for having conversations with the inner asshole, for feeling terrible mentally on days when you're feeling physically terrible or mentally terrible or emotionally terrible. Like I feel like being a warrior ignores, again, the nuances of what this experience is. And some days, yeah, I can kick ass. I can be pretty impressive if I do say so myself. But some days I can't. And I just feel like the warrior mentality almost always results in pick yourself up. You can do it. You have MS, but it doesn't have you. And it's like, well, we're MS and I are doing a dance and we kind of have each other. And that's just the way it is.
I would say from that point of diagnosis, somebody said, by the way, I'd like you to meet your new accompaniment, not friend or colleague, but this person or thing is now going to be with you until you die.
Yep.
But this thing's there, and I don't want to fight this thing that I can't get rid of. And warriors also, I worry that people feel if you get yourself, I'm a warrior, and then you don't give yourself any space to deal with any of this other stuff, you feel guilty. I mean, it's kind of like Catholics and masturbation.
So much guilt can be carried, I think, if you're not living your best life in spite of this illness, if you're not being brave and an inspiration. Again, some days I'm brave, some days I'm inspiring, but some days I'm collapsed on that couch back there crying my eyes out because I can't put two words together sensibly. I mean, this definitely, obviously, is not a one-size-fits-all disease. Like what works for me may not work for you. I mean, clearly we both deal with this through humor and sarcasm a good amount. So it's really about figuring out, okay, what is going on with my body? What is going on with my mind? And deciding what you can control, or at least figuring out what you probably can control, and then making choices about what you can do. The one thing, if we're talking to newly diagnosed people, the one thing I want to say, because I did not do it, if you are physically active, please stay that way. If you are not physically active, figure out how you can work that into your life in a way that suits you and keep it up, because it can make a tremendous difference, both physically and mentally.
I'd second that. At about year 22, I was having a conversation with my then neurologist, and I said to him, "Look, frankly, I should have fallen off the cliff by now. People progress from relapsing remitting on. Why do you think that is?" Because he said, "It's because you've been so active. But I've never been a gym buddy. I've never gone to do press ups or lift weights or whatever. Just things I like doing mean I'm active. I cycled, I climbed up, I walk now, I walk a lot. But I put a post on Twitter today. I don't walk a dog, I walk my legs, because I just fear that if I don't walk my legs every day, they're going to bloody well desert me and go somewhere else. It's almost like I need to keep the pressure on them the whole time. Lads, we are not stopping. Sort yourselves out, one foot in front of the other. The body will follow. Let's go."
Absolutely. I mean, as far as compulsions go, this is a pretty healthy one, I think.
I like to think so. Your compulsions change as you become an older male, but it's your mind's like a Welsh railway, one track and dirty. But
I love it.
So if you had a do-over, is there anything that you would do massively differently that you?
Yeah, so the big things I think about are the exercise issue.
Mm-hmm.
That's huge. Another, if there's a physical thing you love to do, like do it, do it, do it. Like I love to dance. So in addition to moving in whatever way you can do, and try to find something that you enjoy doing, because that way you will keep up with it. Advocate for yourself. It is so important. I stayed with a general neurologist rather than an MS specialist for a decade. And things got slowly but steadily worse over that decade. He kept me on the same medication because he was very conservative. He's always like, well, there's this new drug, but don't know if it's going to work. So, and I didn't speak up. I didn't say, well, I want to try this drug. Can we make that happen? If you don't like your doctor, get another doctor. For heaven's sake, if you cannot have a candid conversation where you say, I pee 20 times a day, or whatever your vaguely to extremely embarrassing issue is, things aren't going to get better for you. Mm. So having a great doctor or team of doctors, as I do now, just makes a huge difference. I watch, is it Aaron Booster? Is that his name?
Aaron Boster, yeah. I'm sure he'll go with Booster. He'll take that. Yeah. No, he'll take Booster, I'm sure.
He's very sensible, and gives really clear advice, or not even necessarily advice, but just really good information. It was a wonderful additional source of information that is significantly more reliable than going to Dr. Google.
I really appreciate you spending the time. I hope that some of the things that we've discussed will give somebody somewhere, just even that one person, some sort of glimmer of hope. If you're newly diagnosed with MS, yeah, it's crap, but there are ways through it. And there's so many resources, Boster, the MS guy, whatever, but just you'll find where you fit in the whole milieu of things, and that will be awesome. But never ever sit at home thinking, oh dear, I'm buggered, because you're not.
Right. Or think that for a little bit, and then go online and find us and be reminded that you can have a pretty fulfilling life in spite of the myriad of things that are annoying or frustrating or debilitating or whatever. Thanks so much, Dom. It's been a joy.
It's my pleasure. Thanks a lot. And you have a lovely day. Cheers.
You too.